how to bulk.
Alright, what's up KB Fit family? We're here at the park on this beautiful Friday afternoon, and we're here to talk about lean bulking. So what is lean bulking, you ask? Lean bulking is basically when you eat in a caloric surplus, so you eat more calories than your body needs to maintain its current weight in an attempt to put on some hard-earned muscle. So we're going to talk more about that in depth and how it's kind of compared to dirty bulking, which you may have heard.
Dirty bulking is like this concept that's thrown around bodybuilding in the sense of like just eating completely anything you want, however you want, and as much as you want. To us, and what our research has shown and what we try to live by is that eating In-N-Out and pizza and lasagna and whatever else you want versus like a clean bulk, still getting those calories, but from a healthy source. You could still eat, 3,000, 2,500, 1,400 calories without having to resort to eating, these terrible foods with terrible things in them.
You may be wondering, is lean bulking for everybody? Can anybody do lean bulking? And yes and no. Anybody can participate in a lean bulk program, so they can eat more than their body needs to maintain its weight in order to try and put on some muscle mass. But lean bulking in general is not usually recommended for individuals who are already carrying a higher body fat percentage than they may be comfortable with.
That's right.
What you kind of want to aim for with that, we'll go into more detail in our cutting series that we're going to start later on. But basically, anybody can participate in a lean bulk. It is more advantageous to individuals who are kind of more intermediate to advanced in their workout routines. They're participating in progressive overloading strength training, and they've kind of hit a plateau, which is kind of where I was in the last few months as well as him. So that's kind of why we decided to do this. Also, lean bulking isn't the greatest for people who are known as hard gainers, like this guy right here.
Yeah, and I'm gonna get into that too.
Yes, so hard gainers basically have a lot of trouble putting on muscle mass. No matter what they eat, they just struggle a lot. So usually for those people, a dirty bulk approach is recommended to start, just to help them put on those extra pounds, and then they can kind of transition into a cleaner bulk after that.
Totally. My turn. Protein and carbs. They are key, they are essential. It's important to not eat too much in the evening, and throughout your day, but it is important to still hit these milestones that you set for yourself and your body type. The way I like to do it, I would have to say, is eat carbs early in the morning, not so much at night, because as you get to the end of the night, your body doesn't need that fuel anymore, so why would you give it that fuel? So start early, eat your carbs early, and then throughout the day, you'll kind of, in your meals and snacks, you'll lower it down a little bit. By the end of the night, you're gonna want a slow digesting protein that kind of like does work while you're sleeping, in a protein casein powder, or in some sort of meal with eggs and turkey or something like that. I always tell everybody this. It's easy to train in the gym. It's hard to train your stomach to eat. So you have to train your stomach. You have to train your stomach to be hungry. So the goal is to eat between 5 and 6 meals a day. Cheat meals and snacks. Don't cheat. Cheat, but don't overindulge. Don't ruin your progress.
Cheat strategically. So basically, if you're gonna have a cheat meal, earn it throughout the week. Keep your foods as clean as you possibly can, Monday through Friday, let's say, and then Saturday night you want to go out with your buddies. Go out Saturday night, have your workout, kick ass in the gym, and then time that cheat meal within 1 to 2 preferably hours after your workout. If that's not doable, 3 to 4 hours, still optimal time to see those benefits.
And I think that like a cheat snack is the best way to do it. Always check the nutrition label. You don't want to ruin your progress with high sugar and unnecessary calorie intake.
Well, that's why I think it's just important to understand that lean bulking at its simplest form is just sticking to foods that are wholesome, nutritious, minimally processed, as long as you keep that protein intake sufficient and manipulate your carbs and fats throughout the period of time that you are bulking, and just find out what works best for you. If you are somebody like me who does better with a lower carb intake and a higher fat intake, great. If you're somebody who does better with higher carbs, lower fats, awesome. But just kind of go through some trial and error and figure out what's going to work best for your body.
Find what your body craves.
Lean bulking for women. So ladies out there, you guys are probably wondering, bulk. I don't like that word. I don't want to bulk. Why would any girl want to be bulky? And I totally understand. I felt the same way for a long time. The thing is, with lean bulking for women, a lot of women out there right now nowadays want to build some nice muscles. And the thing is, you can do endless cardio. You can eat, 1,200 calories a day or less. No matter how much you work your body like that, you're not going to come across the same definition that you would see in somebody who is feeding their body for its needs and performing strength training to build that muscle. Everybody has muscles, but the appearance of how toned you look is based on your body fat percentage and what type of muscle you have laying underneath.
Yes.
So, the biggest changes I've seen are, first off, feeling full for once in my life instead of being hungry constantly. Seeing my strength gains go up. I've never deadlifted 225 pounds like I was able to do the other day, or squatted 205 pounds. So that's been really exciting. For a long time, I worked out really intensely. I lifted lots of weights, and I didn't see any progress because my muscles did not have sufficient amount of protein, fats, or carbs to go through muscle metabolism and actually build on themselves. I was tearing down my muscles without even knowing it. So a lean bulk can be really advantageous for girls if you guys are trying to build up your legs, your butt, your upper body. If you want to tone back all that, you have to eat for it. It's just the way it is.
And the same thing goes for guys. So when it comes to a man, what we do is we want to consume as many calories as we can so that we can actually give the fuel and the necessary nutrients to build that muscle.
So now we're going to talk about how to lean bulk. The steps you need to take in doing it, how to do it strategically, and how to minimize the amount of fat that you're going to be putting on your body. Step one you want to do is calculate your BMR, which is your basal metabolic rate.
The basal metabolic rate is the minimum requirement of calories to perform a basic day function, that like sitting, breathing, digesting, what comes after digesting, So it's important
everyday functions.
So it's important to calculate this basal metabolic rate so that you can perform
everyday functions. So using this Harris-Benedict formula, which is one of the easiest, most accurate ways to calculate your basal metabolic rate, you can find out how many calories you're burning at rest throughout a 24-hour period. This equation is accurate for most people, but it's not really a good choice for people who are already carrying an extreme amount of body fat or people who are naturally more muscular, because this formula will kind of overestimate those calories for people who are carrying more fat until then they need more, and also it'll underestimate for people who are muscular who maybe need to eat more, but they appear heavier because they're carrying more muscle mass. Step two is multiply your BMR by an appropriate activity factor. So an activity factor is basically a level of activity that you perform on a daily basis, starting with sedentary. So if you're somebody who doesn't really work out much, you have a desk job, your activity level is going to be around 1.2. So you want to multiply 1.2 by your BMR to figure out how many calories you need to maintain your weight right now.
But if you're lightly active, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to calculate your already calculated BMR by 1.375. This number is going to give you the amount of calories that you have to consume based on a light exercise type of routine, such as like 1 to 3 days a week.
Let's say you're moderately active, so you take your BMR, that number you calculated earlier, and you multiply it by 1.55. This is basically somebody who's moderately active is somebody who takes part in working out at the gym 3 to 5 days a week, participating on a sports team, or just getting out for a daily run 3 to 5 days a week and being moderately active.
Very active. Very active is going to use the same BMR calculation that you already did. You're going to multiply it by 1.725. This number is going to give you the calories you need to consume based on like a 6 to 7 day workout per week type of routine.
It's really important that you're honest with yourself about your amount of activity throughout the week, because these are going to be your results. If you are overestimating your activity level and saying, well, I'll cut myself some slack, I think I get to the gym 3 to 4 days a week, but you're really only working out twice, you're going to be eating too many calories and you're not going to see the amount of strength gains that you want to see. So make sure that you are being honest with your calculations. So after you get this number, this is going to be the amount of calories that you need to maintain your weight right now. And all you have to do to figure out how many calories you need to bulk is
adding an additional 300 to 500 calories to the number that you get, and then the same thing goes for losing weight.
So let's recap. You're going to basically determine your BMR, your basal metabolic rate. Next, you're going to multiply it by an activity factor. So being honest with yourself, you're going to figure out how active am I, and you're going to multiply that number by your BMR. With that number, that's the amount of calories you need to maintain your weight. If you want to get thick, you got to add that extra 300 to 500 calories to that number, and that will be your starting bulk calories for your bulk. Simple, right?
That's it.
Just eat. No, don't just eat.
Just eat!
If you guys liked the video today, please feel free to give us a thumbs up. Subscribe to our channel, it would mean a lot to us.
And if you have any questions, feel free to comment below and stay tuned because next week more videos coming your way.
Out.